And so, there's a lot of new things that she's dealing with at such a young age as well. And she's been in Spain for many years, since I think she was 13 years old. I think she moved to Spain and trained at Rafa's Academy and has been, around people with a mindset that demands a lot, but is also very focused on, you have to put in the work, you're respectful, and she's been around that environment, and I think there's no coincidence that she has the results that she has. But I think it's going to be very important for her to be a little bit protected from the craziness that comes with that all as well, and just the ability to keep focusing on what she has to do.
A four-time Grand Slam winner recently sat down and made a comparison between Michael Jordan's life and Alex Eala's. Not her tennis, her life, the fame, the pressure, and the burden of being a 20-year-old national superstar. Kim Clijsters said what she had to say. You will be genuinely surprised by what she stated concerning Eala's future. Is the system failing Alex Eala, in your opinion, or is she receiving adequate protection from the extreme pressure that comes with being the biggest sports celebrity in the Philippines at the moment? Leave your frank opinion in the comments. Since the comparison itself is the kind of thing that causes you to stop scrolling and pay attention once again, let's start with it. She recalls me a little bit of a pit bull when it comes to the on-court stuff, for example. I felt that Cibulcova was somewhat similar to my own pit bull. As if their feet are so fast. However, the ability to get into the court from a defensive position while also becoming an aggressive player is a very difficult combination to deal with on the opposite side of the net. Very intriguing, has accomplished amazing things thus far at a young age, but there is still room for progress, and consistency will be crucial. Many players are now familiar with her, both her skills and limitations. Kim Clijsters, a four-time Grand Slam champion, a former world number one, and one of the most renowned voices in women's tennis history, was on the Love All podcast with Blair Henley, so that's something she's going to have to deal with as well. Regarding Alex Eala, she stated that she must cope with the challenge of living in the Philippines like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, the most renowned basketball player in history, is an example of what it's like to be so well known in your native country that leading a regular life is practically impossible. He is not like a top 10 tennis player or a developing WTA star. It's online, in the news, and everything, but I don't think it's easy to deal with changes like that so soon. Neither a casual fan nor a social media account seeking interaction made that analogy. It came from someone who has played tennis at the top level for more than 10 years, who has first-hand experience with the pressure of elite athletes, and who has been following Eala's ascent with the unique perspective of someone who has been in those same stadiums and experienced those same crowds. Clijsters is not being dramatic when she argues that Eala needs to be protected. She's being exact. And it's important to fully comprehend the narrative that led to that assessment. A year ago, Eala was rated 137th in the world. She is now ranked 31st in the world. It's one of the biggest ranking increases in recent WTA history, going from 137 to 31 in under a year. And it arrived with everything fastened on it at the same time. Better seats, tougher opponents, larger courts, stadiums, media attention, sponsorships, Nike Global Ambassador status, front row seats during fashion weeks, and, above all, the weight of representing a country of over 110 million people who have been waiting decades for a player like her. Instead of coming gradually or allowing her to progressively adjust to each new layer of attention before the next one arrived, all of it came at once. It all came together in a condensed amount of time that would be too much for most adults in any line of work, let alone a 20-year-old attempting to compete against the world's top tennis players. Clijsters identified this and gave it a precise name. Many believe that being well-known only occurs online and in the media. That is precisely what Clijsters stated, but it is not. The practical ramifications of having the prestige of Michael Jordan in your own country affect every aspect of your life. You are unable to visit the food store. It is impossible to stroll down the street unnoticed. It is impossible to eat in public without drawing attention to yourself. In a recent interview, Eala herself stated that she now makes an effort to avoid going out by herself while in the Philippines. She described it as a blessing and framed it with thankfulness. However, the underlying truth is that at the age of 20, she has virtually lost her ability to navigate the world as a private individual before winning a Grand Slam and making it into the top 10. No matter how successful they become, most athletes never experience the amount of cultural saturation she has in the Philippines because it takes a very particular set of circumstances. A country that has a strong emotional connection to international sporting achievement. A player who represents that country at the highest level in a sport in which it has never been represented, as well as a personality and style of play that appeals to both casual observers and sports fans. Eala possesses all three, and Clijsters is making it very evident that the tennis community must recognize the seriousness of what that entails for a young player. Let's now discuss Clijsters' actual remarks regarding the tennis match, as her analysis is just as insightful as the analogy, and it merits the same amount of discussion. She began by stating that Eala causes a great deal of discomfort for her opponents. From someone who played against the world's greatest players for years on the other side of the net, that is a precise and significant observation. Good is not the same as uncomfortable. When an opponent is uncomfortable, they are unable to establish a rhythm. When they are uncomfortable, their planned play pattern is constantly upset. Every time they believe they have worked something out, the player on the other side of the net does something unexpected, which makes them uncomfortable. It includes being left-handed. Clijsters made this clear, pointing out that although Eala cannot control her left-handedness, it poses serious tactical challenges for opponents. The angles, spins, and shot shapes produced by right-handers take up the great majority of a right-handed player's practice and game time. Even seasoned pros must intentionally adapt to the geometry when a left-hander stands across the net. The serve kicks in a different way. The opponent's weaker side is matched by the angles the forehand makes to the left-handed player's strength side. The baseline exchange as a whole feels different. However, Clijsters found something more intriguing about Eala's technical game than her left-handedness. Eala's backhand is actually superior to her forehand, according to her, and she defined it as an aggressive shot as opposed to a defensive one. Extended baseline exchanges in women's tennis are frequently determined by the quality of the player's backhand. An important tactical weapon that opponents cannot simply escape by moving to one side of the court is when I can harm you with her backhand, not just maintain the ball in play, but truly put pressure on you and put you on the defensive. She also explained the combination that makes Eala's game so challenging to figure out. The opponent is forced behind the baseline by deep balls produced by aggressive baseline play on the backhand. The opponent's weaker side then has access to the court thanks to the forehand angle. The beat falters. Rather than attacking, the opponent is protecting. Additionally, Eala can maintain that pressure over extended periods in ways that physically tire down opponents who believed they could outgrind her. Clijsters highlighted that Eala has exceptional footwork and endurance. More than any other observation, the pitbull mentality comparison explains the Miami run. She was compared by Clijsters to Dominika Tibukova, a player who she said had quick feet and the capacity to abruptly and unexpectedly switch from a defensive to an aggressive stance. From taking a defensive stance to entering the court and acting aggressively. Because it throws off the natural rhythm of a point at a time when the opposition anticipates pressing their advantage, that transition is very challenging to deal with on the opposite side of the net. Eala made it through qualifying in Miami. She defeated the world number 1, even though she wasn't intended to be there at that level. Jelena Ostapenko was defeated by her. Playing virtually at home in the United States, she defeated Madison Keys. She advanced to the semifinals, and the Bulldog description clarifies that she wasn't superior than those players in every technical way. She defeated them by competing in an uncomfortable manner, upsetting their routines, and refusing to remain on the defensive long enough for them to gain momentum. Since the audience dynamic has characterized Eala's 2026 season thus far in a manner that is unheard of at her ranking level, Clijsters also spoke directly about it. The Filipino supporters flock to every competition she competes in. Dubai was just for standing. Records of attendance were produced in Melbourne, Auckland, Abu Dhabi. The trend is steady and expanding. In ways that established top 5 players do not often accomplish, she sells out buildings as a top 30 player. Clijsters used her personal experience to discuss crowd energy in a way that is actually fascinating. She claimed that the crowd itself was rarely the source of the pressure she experienced during games. It came from her coaches, her squad, and her trainer, who left his family to assist her. She was as motivated to win for them as she was for herself. And because it was about her colleagues, not just herself, losing in a team competition like the Fed Cup pained her more than losing in an individual championship. However, she also discussed the invigorating impact of a cohesive crowd in ways that are clearly related to comprehending Eala's experiences. Night sessions at the US Open are crowded and boisterous. She was able to look admirers in the eye. They would yell encouragement. And those few moments of connection gave her energy when she delivered, which carried over to the following point. When she felt dull or distracted, she claimed that crowd energy may really help, acting as an external reset that brought her back to the present. Eala currently plays in front of that kind of audience at every game. Thousands of Filipino fans who are emotionally invested in every point she plays, who have flown especially to see her, and who are aware of her tale. She can use that energy as a resource in ways that the majority of players at her ranking level just cannot. At a match featuring the top 30 players, the audience is usually courteously involved. At an EA match, the audience is taking part. However, Clijsters is also correct that this leads to an issue. Some fans' angry reactions to Eala's close 3-set loss to Alicia Parks at the Australian Open went beyond what was appropriate. In a public statement, Rafael Nadal, whose academy began training Eala at the age of 13, defended her. Clijsters specifically cited this instance as an illustration of the novel challenges Eala is facing at such a young age. Eala's biggest asset, the ferocity of her fan base, is also a source of pressure that must be carefully controlled. Enthusiastic supporters may change from encouraging to demanding in ways that are really detrimental to a young athlete's mental growth. According to Clijsters, it must be crucial for Eala to be shielded from the chaos that accompanies all of this and to maintain her focus on her tasks. It's more than simply a great feeling to be protected. It is strategically essential to Eala's long-term growth. It's obvious that the tennis is at a level where the outcomes are already remarkable. In a year, she dropped from 137 to 31. She defeated the top player in the world. Former top 10 players are referring to her as the biggest draw in women's tennis. After defeating her in Dubai, two-time Grand Slam champion Coco Gauff commended her. Her photo is displayed on the wall of Nike's world headquarters in Oregon, where she currently serves as a global ambassador. The potential is there, the foundation is there, and the mindset, which Clijsters said was demonstrating obvious mental development even at such a young age, is moving in the correct way. She trained for 7 years at the Rafa Nadal Academy, which requires respect, hard work, and dedication. In particular, Clijsters stated that she does not believe Eala's success is a coincidence. However, in order to maintain this trajectory and truly achieve the Grand Slam level that everyone around her is now projecting, she must manage the comparisons to Michael Jordan, sold-out stadiums, fan backlash following defeats, media attention, commercial demands, and the weight of national expectations without sacrificing the essence of what makes her competitive on the tennis court. Clijsters has dominated women's tennis. She is publicly stating that Eala deserves the kind of protection and support system that true global superstars need, not because she is weak, but rather because the demands placed on her are truly extraordinary, and those around her must take that seriously. She is aware of what that management looks like. March 4th marks the commencement of Indian Wells. Miami comes next on March 17th. The biggest tests of Eala's career in the tournaments where everything can change again are quickly approaching, and what actually transpires on the court will depend on whether she arrives as a well-supported, protected athlete or as someone who is overwhelmed by everything related to tennis. Kim Clijsters is certain that everyone paying attention is aware of the stakes because she has seen enough to know the difference. The tennis world needed to hear what Kim Clijsters just said. Alex Eala is more than just a new celebrity. At the age of 20, she is fighting against the world's top players while bearing the burden of an entire country. It's going to be an amazing journey. Click, like, and subscribe if you're interested in this story.